Hello everyone. Today we will run a messaging workshop, and me and Braylon will show you how having broken message keeps your ideal clients away. And the whole intent behind this workshop today will be to fix your messaging. Because when the messaging is fixed, then client acquisition becomes way easier. You can have the best strategies in the world to acquire clients, but if you're missing the foundation, it's like building a house on a sand. Sooner or later it will fail, and we want to set up a strong foundation. And probably those of you who have a coaching business for quite a while, you might recognize yourself in one of these things here. You create content, it gets a lot of views, but then at the end, you have no reactions. You have people who watch, but none of them reach out and ask for your coaching offer. Your DMs, they feel dry. You keep changing your niche every few months before because you think there is some other problem. You keep rewriting the captions again and again because nothing sounds right. Like you can't hit this. People don't feel you and the message that you try to convey, and the offer, it feels good in your head, but it's flat on paper. Because of this, all of the sales calls feel like fight, and it's hard to enroll clients. But the moment we fix the messaging, which is what we'll do today, everything will change. Because what I shared right now, all of these things, they're just symptoms and they're not random. They are a result of one root problem that we will go over. And of course, this problem that we will solve today is your message. Because the message right now doesn't match the transformation that you can actually deliver. And in fact, all of you can deliver incredible results to your clients. What we want to do right now is to make this message match the actual transformation that you can deliver, which is a massive transformation. But your audience right now think that you can help them with one thing, but the real value that you bring is something way deeper. And until we connect this to you, people won't buy. So how our whole intent today will be to align your transformation with your message so you can attract clients towards the offer, especially with the strategies that you have access in the sales fast track program for client acquisition. You will get like fire once we have the message right. And I want you to remember something. Your business right now is not built on the content, which is a misconception that a lot of us has. The business is also not built on the DMs and the conversations that we have. It's also not built on the funnels that you build or the ads that you run. Your entire business is built on your message. Because if your message is unclear, then nothing you do on top of it will work. That's the foundation. You can't build a house starting by the roof. You can't go and get the client acquisition strategies, but you don't have a clear message or offer. We first fix this, and then we go with the client acquisition strategies that you have. Because when the message is clear, even simple content starts pulling clients like this. Your message is like this magnet. It attracts people, but there is a problem. Most coaches skip this. I used to be one of them. I thought, no, this is not for me. I'm way advanced than that. I just want to have the strategies. In every program that I joined, I was always looking for the shiny object, the strategy, the client acquisition systems, but I was skipping the foundations. One of them is the messaging. And I discovered what is the real reason behind why a lot of coaches skip this messaging part, even though they are quite advanced, even though they have been in business for quite a while. We tend to skip messaging because it feels slow. Let's be honest. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable. And the biggest factor why people skip messaging and they just go straight into client acquisition strategies is because messaging forces us to choose. And the problem with choosing is that choosing feels scary because it means that we let go of other possibilities that we could help people with. Right now, because we all have a lot of knowledge, we can provide people with incredible information and transformation at the same time. We don't want to exclude people. We have this fear of missing out, that we will miss on getting clients if I exclude some people from my message. And that's why we tend to skip messaging, because we feel like we're missing opportunities and we're missing sales. But instead of doing the actual work, the deep work, we tend to follow the shiny object, as this guy right here is doing. We skip messaging, we skip the offer part, we skip the foundation, and we just jump into posting, creating, DMing, just hoping that the message will figure it out later. It actually doesn't. We have to do this at first before we go into the client acquisition strategies that are in the sales fast track program. And when you fix the messaging, a loop begins. The loop that I'm talking about is this. You fix your messaging, then content starts hitting. People feel like, oh, this guy or this girl is talking to me. That's the problem that I have. I can relate to what he or she is saying. When you fix your messaging, also your clients understand you faster. Because in marketing, we have this saying, if you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. Like, try to speak about one problem today, speak about another problem tomorrow. People get confused, and confused minds never buy, which is why we want to fix this. And of course, when your messaging is fixed, sales feel natural. Growth speed up because people finally get what you're trying to say. They relate to your offer. They relate to everything that you produce. And I hope by me sharing these things with you, you realize the importance of messaging and what Braden will cover today with his quick workshop that will help you with fixing this messaging. Because once you see this that he's about to share, you can't unsee it. And you also notice how every successful coach online has a message. This message is simple, emotional, and easy to repeat. And you also notice that every struggling coach has a message that is very vague, that is scattered, or it's even confusing. Like you don't know what this coach is doing. You don't know if he's helping with one thing or he's helping with another thing. And I'm going to give you a few examples so we can really cement the point and really understand what I'm trying to say. Like an example of a vague message for a struggling coach is this. I coach people to do better in life, in business. I also help them do better in relationships, and I also help them do better in personal growth. Let's be honest, this one is too bored. It's confusing, and that there is no strong hook or repeatable phase. But on the other side, I can give you a different example with someone who actually succeeds and someone who attracts clients because he has a simple message. This is a real example from this guy, Brendon Burchard. Some of you probably know this guy because he's author of some best-selling books. And his message is very simple. It's emotional and it's repeatable. He helped high performance achieve more success with less stress. Simple, emotional, repeatable. We also have clear outcome, and he's clear on who he's helping by calling high performance only. One more example before we move on, so we can really, really cement and solidify the point, is with another struggling coach. And to not exclude the ladies, I'm just going to give another example with a lady coach. Uh, for a struggling lady coach, she can say, I help entrepreneurs, I help leaders, I help professionals improve their mindset. I also help them improve their skills. I also help them improve their productivity across multiple areas of their lives. Similar to the first one, this again is vague, is bored, it's scattered, it's hard to understand, and it's hard to repeat. On the other side, we have a real example from Maria Forleo. And her statement is very simple again, it's emotional, and we have a clear outcome. She helps ambitious people create a business and life they love. Simple, easy, repeatable. That's what you have at the end of this masterclass, a simple message that will connect with your audience. And when you have it, client acquisition becomes way more easier with the strategies that you have access in the sales fast track program. And that's why today matters. Because once this foundation clicks for you, everything you do after this becomes easier. Your content improve, your DMs flow, your offer land, and the way that client responds is way better. That's why I'm going to give the stage right now to Braden, who specializes in messaging, and he walk you through the exact steps to build a message that attracts your ideal clients without you having to force people, without you pushing them. And after that, you see where the Sales Fast Track program comes with the client acquisition strategies. But I'm giving the stage to Braylon right now so he can share his magic.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Berg. That was awesome. I feel like I don't even have to say much anymore because you totally nailed that. So I'm just gonna do my best to add. And what I will say is this: your message is the foundation of everything that you're gonna do. And like Burke said, a lot of people skip it. And when they skip it, they start to build and put these bricks up on this weak foundation. And it feels like you're making progress still, right? And you are making some progress, but then you get to some point and it's like, why does it feel so hard now? Why does it feel unstable? And why does it feel like the progress is just not happening? And that's because a lot of us, we fall into the trap of building, 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 but we never build the foundation the right way. And because of that, we face the problems later on. And so that's why it's so dangerous to not get clear on your message at the beginning, because it may seem like you're making progress for a while, but then at some point it's like, wait, I'm actually very stuck. And so the objective for what I'm going to share is that you will finally understand why your value feels invisible, even when you're posting consistently, even when you're doing all the right things, right? So you're going to see that messaging is the root system of pretty much every result that you want. So if you want clients, authority, conversion, confidence, pricing power, if you want your value to be seen and to be felt, it begins with your messaging as the foundation. And so if you are strong on your message, you will be able to show up without ever having to say, please choose me. People will come to you and choose you because of how clear the message was for them. And so the systems reality. So Burke talked a little bit about systems. I believe that there are five like essential systems that a business needs. You have lead generation, you have the lead to conversation, you have the conversion system, you have your delivery system, and then you have your proof system. If any of these systems is weak, then everything else starts to feel, hard. What I've noticed though is that a lot of people are stuck in the very like first system, like the foundational system, which is usually the lead generation. If we cannot get past lead generation and attracting the right people, how are we ever going to even have the conversations to turn them into clients, right? When we do turn them into clients, or if we do get to turn them into clients, how will we deliver a program that actually impacts them and transform them, right? What I've noticed is that when you have really clear messaging, it actually informs all of these systems. Like it makes it almost feel effortless because your message is so clear and it's threaded in everything that you do. And again, when one thing is weak, everything else is impacted as well, right? And then most people think, oh, I just need to be more motivated. I need to try harder. I need to be more consistent. And as a part of this community, I've seen that in a lot of the members where they just think, I just got to grind a little bit harder. If that's you, if you just felt like I just need to try harder, maybe that's why I'm not getting clients. Can you just put like me in the chat just so I can see if I'm here talking to the right people? All right, so Trent, thank you. Yeah, and so for me, I was Division 1 athlete, so working hard is all I know. And so that was my initial inclination was things are not working, let me go harder and let me be more consistent. But what I noticed is that effort only goes so far, especially if you're going in the wrong direction. And so the way that you ensure that you're going in the right direction is to have such a clear and compelling message. Today, we're going to be focusing only on the first system, which is lead generation, because it is the front end. And if that's unclear, then none of the other systems are going to really work, right? And so what I've noticed is that That's the reason that a lot of businesses are breaking down right now, is because of lead generation. But what most people don't know is that lead generation, like almost every single system, begins with your message. If your message is not clear, then no perfect system that you have are not going to allow you to move forward to the level that you want. And so when things don't work, right? So people are noticing, okay, this is just not working. I have a good system, I have the right steps, I have even the right mentor, but why are things not working? Most people think it's, I'm not putting out enough content. Maybe I should post 5, 10 times a day. I also did that before. Maybe it's the wrong platform. Maybe it's the algorithm. The algorithm is keeping me hidden. The algorithm is not showing me to the right people. Or maybe I'm just not trying hard enough. Maybe I didn't post on one day out of the week. So that's why. And this was me, right? I think most of you have heard my story before, but I was a teacher for 6 years. I was a head coach for 2 sports. So I was extremely burnt out. I was working 80 to 100-hour weeks, especially when in season. I was working Monday through Saturday. Sunday was my only day off, but I had lesson plans and other things to do. So I burnt out like super fast, and I allowed myself to be burnt out for literally 6 years. Eventually, I quit my job because I just could not do it anymore, and I decided I'm going to become a life coach. It took me a whole entire year before I got my first client. And this is after quitting my job, after having no savings, no backup plan, no clients for a whole entire year. So you guys can imagine the struggle and the pain and the frustration of things just not working, especially for a person like me who works extremely hard, right? So I posted daily. I posted multiple times a day. So it wasn't the lack of content for me. I posted on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. I even started a YouTube, was not the platform. And I also worked every single day. Honestly, I was working more than I was as a teacher to make this business work. So it wasn't the lack of effort. What I noticed was, like me, and like a lot of people here, is that what was really happening was that the messaging was just unclear to my audience. Even if it felt clear to me, I felt this is such a strong, like a strong topic to talk about. I'm talking to these people and these people here and then these other people. So I felt in my heart like this was a good topic to talk about, but it wasn't clear to them. And because it was never clear to them, they continue to scroll past. And when they scroll past everything I put out, the algorithm said, this is not good content. People don't want this content, so let me hide it more. And that's why some of you, your content is now being shown to people, because when people scroll past you, when they don't engage, the algorithm is thinking this is not going to be good content. They don't want this, so let me not show it to them anymore. And so the way that you combat this is, again, to have a clear message that cuts through the noise that people are actually interacting with and engaging with. I'm just checking the comments real quick. Awesome. So I'm noticing a shift, but yes, somewhat. Okay. And I do know. Okay. Awesome. I am fed up of harder. I want smarter. Yes, I love that. It's definitely about the systems here. And yes, I I strongly believe in putting myself in a situation where I have to figure it out. And so for me, I had to figure it out, so I couldn't go back. There was one time actually, and I hope this speaks to someone. I did go back to substitute teaching. I went for one full day and I couldn't do it anymore. Like my spirit felt sick. Like I actually felt sick going back. And that's when I knew I'm on the right path. I made the right decision by quitting this job. Even though it is impossible and it feels impossible, I'm going to make this work. And hey, God led me and made it work for me. And so what I'm saying is that it's not always about effort. It's about just finding the right systems and implementing those systems consistently, but also starting with the foundation of your message. So, the founding principle and everything that I do is that if they don't see themselves in your message, they don't see themselves paying you. And that is what I keep repeating to myself and to my clients, to make it almost like a principle that they have tattooed in their mind. Because if they don't see themselves in the messaging, they're not going to see themselves paying you. And so everything that you do has to be addressing this. Can they see themselves in what I'm saying? Right? Because a lot of you are posting really good content, but do your ideal client actually see themselves in what you're putting out? If they do not, it can be the best written post ever. It's still going to land flat. And I know some of you have felt that, where it's like, hey, this is so good, no one said anything, no, not even a like or a comment. And so what I've learned is that you can have an amazing system, like Burke's system, like GNP, but without a clear message, your progress will be slower and more frustrating. But when you get really clear and you're cutting through the noise, that system will just scale you to levels that you're not even used to. Okay. So now let's actually get into the meat of this. So, what is the message, right? So, your message is how you clearly communicate the value of your coaching, your offer, and transformation in a way that makes your ideal clients see themselves in them. So, a big part of this is that they have to see themselves in the things that you are saying. A lot of you have amazing offers, you have amazing transformations, you even are amazing coaches. But if people cannot see themselves in that journey, if they cannot see themselves working with you, if they cannot see themselves in this transformation, again, they're going to walk away. And then what makes your message magnetic? So it's the right message for the right person at the right time. So for me, there are three parts to this, right? The foundation is right message, right person at the right time. I have a little visual here because this is how I piece together my message. You're at point A, this is where your clients are currently. And you guys probably all know this already, right? They're at point A, they have these struggles, this reality. Point B is where they want to be. This is the desire, the outcome. Your message is that bridge of belief that they can get across this bridge with you as their guide. Okay. So, two components there. They have to believe in the path, first of all, that is stable. And they also have to believe that you are the one to guide them. A lot of you are talking about transformations, but people don't see you as the guide because you're not showing yourself as a guide. You're not putting yourself out there authentically as that expert, as that person that can guide them across. So people will never see you as that. In the chat, real quick, what do you currently do to make sure that your audience sees you as the expert or as the guide that they need? So, what are you currently doing to get people to think that you are the guide that they need? And exactly, Burke. That's what the client acquisition strategies did. Literally, message, it was like gasoline, and then boom, like things just like took off. And that's why we're doing this, because we truly believe that when you have the right message, like the system is just going to work for you at a whole different level.
Yes. Yes. Just wanted to share that with everyone that the success that I also saw in others who got in the program was simply because of the fact that the foundations were established in a very, very good way. Like we had a clear message, we had a strong offer, and then at the end of the day, it's just about applying the client acquisition strategies, and everything becomes a piece of cake. And when we nail down the messaging today, then we'll just focus on the other side of the business. And it's simple as that.
Mhm. Yeah. And then Renee, you asked, what if you feel you are being genuine? What do you mean by that question? Before we move on, just to make sure I can answer that for
It
everyone.
was just based on what you had said a little bit ago, and I don't want to
Go back.
miscommunicate it, but I heard you saying that if you're not sharing that belief, if you're not being authentic, and if you're not getting that out there to the community, then they're not going to either buy into it or believe you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I've gotten feedback that I am consistent across platforms, that people do get what I'm saying, but yet I haven't hit the right audience yet. So it's frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and so that's definitely like a messaging
Thank you.
thing. Right, of course. Um, I just had a conversation with someone about this last week, and they were like, "Yeah, but people like my content. They think it's good, but like I'm not getting any clients." And there's a difference between good content that people like and then good content that converts. There are different approaches to both. And so for you, Renee, what that sounds like, and for a lot of you actually, it's you might already be like 80-90% of the way there. It's just a matter of keep refining that message so that it cuts through that noise and gets that one person. So I also saw your comment in one of my posts the other day. I do mean to respond to you. I did take note of that. You just reminded me about that. So I will give you feedback on that as well. But let's go and move on as well. So I guess I have to really think about it. I might not be doing it right now. I'm trying to post strong informational content to express how knowledgeable I am. So this was also me. I'm a teacher, so I just kept teaching. But again, there's a difference between the conversion content and then just like the value content. You want to put out content that shows how you're the expert, but that's still a different approach to converting and conversion. And so that's one of the things that I actually do. It's teach people about this. So I created a couple of like posting structures to address these things because I was the same person. I was like, I'm going to teach every single day and people are going to see me as knowledgeable. And that worked and it took me so far. But then at some point, I got stagnant again because I had to again hit a different level. And so knowledge is not the only thing that establishes you as the guide. Because, for example, let's say that you're standing at this bridge with your clients and it's point A, point B, and they see this huge gap, but they do see the bridge. You can say, hey, that bridge is going to get you across. This bridge has these two pillars. It's like stable enough to take you, right? Like that's information that you're giving them. So they know the information. And in a world where information is just like so abundant, what people need is something deeper. They need to believe in themselves and they need to believe that you're going to walk this journey with them, right? You're giving them that safety that yes, they can get across this bridge. They know it's a bridge. They know how they can see the pillars. They can see how big it is, but it's like, okay, past the information, what else can you do for me, right? People need implementation, right? I just learned about this a few days ago. I didn't learn about it, but I just like read about it, and it just like I've been really like intentionally meditating on it. But there's three steps to wisdom. There's knowledge, what you know. There's understanding, which is why and how what you know works, and then there's wisdom, application. A lot of us as coaches, we get stuck on the knowledge part. Like, hey, here's what you know, what you need to know, here's what we know, but we don't teach them the why and the why or how it works, or we don't teach them how to implement. So in your content, I'm not saying give them like your whole system, but you want people to be understanding past just knowing. You want them to know why it works. You want the belief shift. So what I want you to add in your content is start to shift beliefs. Like be very intentional on shifting beliefs, and that will start to do a little bit more for you than just, showing information. And then Lincoln, so my niche, so I mainly serve women coaches who feel invisible.
Okay, like a business coach as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And do you sell package programs or sessions packages, right? Like high end, or what's the pricing?
Yeah, so I can talk about that in a bit, but I have one core program. It's a 6-week program, and we go from getting clear on your messaging to actually threading that in your business so you can get more clients. I do have like a VIP option as well, and for the sake of what we teach here, especially what Burke has taught of like 1-1-1-1-1, I've also refined my offer to literally just 2 points. Instead of like 10 offers, I have like literally 2 core offers and that's it. And I can talk about that in a little bit as well if you're interested, but
Yeah,
just
definitely.
awesome. And then the essence of strategy is business is choosing what not to do. Clear messaging removes wasted effort, which is why we're doing this for you. I love this so much. So just to move on, and that was perfect timing, Burke. So when I talked about the right message for the right person at the right time, a lot of you have the right message, but you're not speaking to the right person. Some of you are speaking to too many people. So I actually remember this story when I first started saying, you know what? I'm going to commit to serving women coaches. I put that on my cover. I help women coaches. And I remember my wife seeing that and was like, but doesn't that like repel everyone else? And I was like, exactly. Like, that's what you want, right? You want to repel whoever does not align with your message, and you need to stand on that. I think a lot of us are scared. It's a fear response when we have to commit to one thing, because what happens when you commit to one? You push out everything else. And a lot of us, when we have that lack mindset, we think, oh, if I commit to one thing, that means I'm going to get less money because less people are going to want what I have. But it's actually the opposite. When you commit to one thing, your message actually amplifies and it cuts through the noise a lot more. And so for a lot of you, actually in the chat again, how many of you are speaking to just one person? And if you're not, can you put I'm not, just so that I can name it? Nah. Awesome. Awesome. And so the reason that I'm doing this is so that you know, because if I can tell you, great, but if you don't really know it, then it doesn't really mean anything. But if you truly know, okay, I'm not speaking to my one audience, then you know what to fix and you know what to stand on. It is scary to choose one and to commit to one, but it does help you progress a lot faster. Now, I also work with men, right? So this is also just adding a little nuance here. I actually have one client right now who's a man, the rest are women. And the man, he still very much fits like the identity that I'm targeting. And he's taking my program and running with it. Like he had if you're in the community, I posted about it. He had his first 2 ever high ticket clients within 2 weeks, right? So what I'm saying here is, because I think some people are like, well, there are some gurus out there who speak to everyone, right? They have such a strong foundation that now their message reaches a bigger audience. So for you, start very specific and build. But you start specific first, you become known as the one thing. And then as you become known for the one thing, you start to attract everyone else. And that's how the process works. It's not you cast a wide net and you just get whoever you can. It's I get very specific, I get my people, I get the ones, the testimonials, and then I use that to expand into scale. Pond, lake, ocean. Love that. Exactly. So now, so why are people not seeing themselves in your messaging? So messaging usually breaks when you talk from your skills, not the audience's moment. So look at me. I know this. I can do this, blah, blah, blah. But you're not speaking to your audience and what they need right now. You explain what you do instead of the transformation, what changes, right? I see it all the time. Like, you're going to get this session with me and then this session and this session. But at the end, I'm like, so what is the actual transformation that I'm going to have through working with you? You teach information. So I think, Ron, you just talked about this, right? Without shifting identity. So you need to be, when people read your content, they need to read your content and be like, I did not think of it that way. And it will be interesting because if you truly show up authentically as yourself and you put your real thoughts out there, you're going to hit some people and they're going to be like, I never saw it this way, because nobody thinks like you. So if you are showing up fully authentically with your ideas, with your thoughts, you're going to get people to think, I never thought of it that way, because again, no one can think like you do. Your content speaks to everyone's intellect, but no one's self-image. Again, here's more information, but not, let's break down those internal blind spots that you have. Let's break down the things holding you back. Speak to who they are or who they want to be, not just giving them more information. Your message is again about instilling that belief. So if I go back to this, the person, you can tell them like, hey, if you just hold on to the rail, you're going to get across. But they have to first believe they can come across this bridge before they even take that step. They have to believe they're the type of person who can do it. If they don't, nothing you tell them is going to matter. That's why a lot of people in business, they don't truly believe that they can make tens and thousands of dollars. They don't believe that. And so they self-sabotage every step of the way because they don't truly believe that they deserve the amount of impact that they could have. There are people who don't believe that they're worth it. So anytime they have a conversation with someone, they kind of like, right? And so it begins with you shifting that identity, okay? And John, okay, so John, I actually want to address this. I was the same way when I started. I actually was focused on men, but I started to see that women were more attracted. The reason that this happens is because of your energy. Because you're such a big-hearted, loving guy and you have such a calming and safe presence, women are more attracted to you. There's a reason for that. For me, it was the same thing. Like, yes, I could impact men, and I do still work with some men, right? But I started to pay attention to what is my energy attracting. And once I aligned with that and made my message align with what was already naturally coming to me, I started to see more growth as well. So I would consider, John, as well, just committing to who you're attracting already and seeing the impact that will happen. Okay. And so the last thing, and I strongly believe in this part, is that you don't speak to where they currently are. When I talk about the right time, people need to be spoken to you in the current moment, not where you want them to be, not where you think they should be, right? But where they currently are, because that's all that really matters to them. Because in their current moment, they have a set of beliefs and that's it. You cannot change the beliefs and then just expect them to completely drop everything because of what you're saying, right? What you have to do is meet them where they are and then guide them forward. Okay, that's what messaging does. You take them where they are and you start guiding them closer and closer to that transformation, especially with your content. So let's talk about a lead generation equation here. So once you understand this, it stops feeling, it starts feeling more personal. It starts becoming more predictable. Okay. So lead generation, this is how it becomes or how it happens. You have your relevance times your message clarity and the safety. So for the relevance, is this message for one person or for everyone? For example, I'm going to bring you up, John, again. Your message is attracting a specific group of people, which means if you shifted your message to address another person, the people who were already attracted are going to be pushed away, right? Naturally, because of the way that you write and speak, a certain group is already attracted. For a lot of you, there's going to be people who are attracted to what you're saying. Focus on the people who you're attracting, okay? If it doesn't align with your niche, then you need to change your messaging to fit the needs of your niche, right? So for me, I knew, okay, I'm attracting more women. So that means that if my message becomes too aggressive, right, if it becomes unsafe or too like masculine, I'm going to push away a lot of the women that I serve, right? And so I started to focus like, how can I align my energy and my message with the people that I'm targeting? Okay. So is it relevant to them? Does it meet them at their
So you're
current level?
so can I respond? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Do you mind if I just comment on just to bring it to my situation? I just I am attracting women. I see that. I've always seen that. But like my private client that does the high ticket is typically a man. But I have this group more affordable training program that would fit more online, which is more women. But my voice is I'm trying to talk to men. So you're saying I should switch my niche to women and start changing my voice toward women.
So what it sounds like is you wouldn't need to change anything because your current voice is attracting women already.
Yes, but I'm
Yeah.
speaking to men.
Mm-hmm. So it would be just speaking to women. I actually had to do that too because I was speaking to men, but I wasn't really like bringing them in as much as I was the women. And so
No,
then I just
no.
committed. I just went like, you know what? I'm just gonna commit to women because if you're seeing I'm not attracting the group that I'm calling, but I'm attracting this group here. And if we just keep doing that, we're gonna keep getting the same result, right? We're not gonna keep just attracting the right people. We're going to keep attracting the wrong person per se. So let's say you did focus on women. What would happen is you're going to start to strengthen that signal. You're going to attract more women. You will still attract some men here and there, which is what's already happening, it sounds like. Right? And so it's just about speaking to who you're already attracting, because I don't know, maybe you've known all along, like, hey, like this is who I'm attracting more of. It's just about committing to that. I don't know why you haven't yet. Like, I don't know what your personal reasons are, but I would bet that once you make that small switch, you'll see a big impact on what's happening in your business. All right. And then, so does it currently meet their level of awareness? I hope that you all know this. Not everyone is aware of their problem, right? And I think that some of us were speaking to different awareness levels, but not really committing to where are our clients at, right? So for example, I remember when I first started, I targeted a lot of like the newer coaches. At the beginning, a lot of coaches don't know that messaging is a problem. Even some people here don't know that messaging is a problem, right? So I have to educate them. But if they do know that it is their problem, but they don't know what the solution is, I can tell them what the solution is, right? So let's say they're not getting any clients or invisible in their content. They know that there's a problem. They don't know quite what the answer is. I can then say, hey, the reason that you feel invisible in your content, the reason that people are not responding to your DMs is because your messaging is off. Now I can give them and teach them about a solution. I can teach them about my offer, right? And so understanding the current level of awareness actually matters, because if you meet them where they currently are, it becomes more relevant to them, right? So understand where your ideal clients are. Are they aware? So there are 5 levels. So it's unaware, they have no idea. There's problem aware, they know the problem, they don't know the solution. They're solution aware, they know that there's a solution out there. They don't know what it is just yet, but there is a solution. They're kind of shopping around. Then there's the offer aware. They know the offer that is going to help. It might be your offer. And then the ready buyers, they are ready to buy. They see the value in your offer and they want to buy it. Understand where your clients are and who you want to speak to, because how you speak to each of those levels matters, and it changes based on where they are. Now, for the relevance, again, you're focusing on where they are, what they need right now, and you're being direct with that, okay? If they don't recognize themselves immediately, they scroll. So all of you, pay attention to your behavior on social media. You're scrolling, you skip everything, and then there's that one post that you're like, and you lean in and you read it because it's like, oh, that spoke directly to what I was thinking or to where I'm at. That's how your content needs to speak to people. It needs to immediately get them to stop scrolling. And the way that you do that is literally speaking to where they are right now. So a little hack, it's very simple, but I would do this a lot. I still do it often. I would find out what my ideal clients were saying. So I would look at different posts, I would see their comments, and I would literally take what they said, copied it, literally in quotes, I put that as my hook. Like literally what they said, because for some people, they read that and they're like, that's exactly me. Like that's what I'm thinking. That's what I was just saying the other day. And I use their actual words as my hook, because that's how I speak to where they are right now. The next part is your message clarity. So is the problem obvious without explanation? Is the outcome concrete? So when you are writing your content, can people actually see themselves in that story? Right? Can they feel something as they read through your content? Is the outcome concrete? So can they say, if I do these 3 things, I'm going to get this result after reading this content? Is the next step simple, or is it mentally expensive? So fun fact, the brain uses calories when it reads anything. So when people read your content, are they spending or using a lot of calories, or is it very easy and simple to understand? A lot of you guys here are very intelligent people. That does not mean that you have to speak at that level, because there are people who just don't understand anything that you're saying. They need to understand it without any effort, because again, if you're on social media, most of the time people are not just like spending a lot of time on one thing. They're moving on constantly. So Your job is to get them to wake up as soon as possible and see the value in what you're doing. If you do that, they will read more often, right? Now, grabbing their attention and keeping them to read the whole post is a whole different strategy. But a lot of you are losing clients and leads at the very first sentence. So spend more time hooking them than anything else. Your hook needs to be the strongest part because that's what's going to get them to stop scrolling and then focus on like, how do I actually get them to read the rest of the post? Then, right, is the value visible, felt, and heard. One of the things that I have seen, and I talk about this on my profile all the time, is that there are a lot of coaches who put, who needs clients? And there's so many coaches who say, me, I need clients. When you guys see those type of posts and people commenting, what are your natural, like, I guess, like your first thoughts when you read stuff like that? And then I'll share mine. So whenever someone says, who needs clients, or looking for a coach who has an empty calendar and needs clients, and you see people commenting, me, do you guys have any thoughts about that when that happens? You can just put it in the chat for me. Run away. I get like an ick, honestly. At first, it got me excited as an opportunity, but now I get very frustrated. They're always sales gimmicks. They're 100% always the sales gimmick. But what I've seen is that when people do that, my immediate thought is they're not getting clients, they're new, they have no authority. So your value being visible, felt, and heard also matters with how you carry yourself. If you are saying certain things, it shows what you believe. And if you don't truly believe in yourself, it's going to show up. If you're not truly getting clients consistently, it's going to also show up in your content. So what I'm saying is how you position yourself and the things that you do and say on social media also matter when it comes to your messaging. And then safety, finally, do they feel seen, not sold, right? Is the risk low to engage? Is proof visible but not forced? Okay. Are people actually seeing you as someone who can guide them and support them? Or are you just immediately jumping in to sell them something without ever building any type of relationships, right? People don't avoid offers, they avoid feeling unsafe, making the wrong decisions. I heard this from a buddy of mine. He said that everyone is a buyer, they just need the right offer at the right time. And I agree with that, right? Every single person is a buyer, everyone buys something. They just need that one offer that is going to wake them up. I have an example about this actually this weekend. We went to Mexico. So I live in the Rio Grande Valley. Mexico is a 35, 40-minute drive from here. I can just walk across the border. And as you walk in, though, it's like one long strip, and there's like 100 people trying to sell you something. Hey, you want Percocet? Hey, you want Ozempic? Hey, you want Viagra? Like, it's crazy. Like, you want this, you want that, you want this, and it's just like at some point you're just like no, 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 and you just start to like not look at anyone. But my wife and I were eating, and people kept coming up to us even as we were eating. And at one point, this lady that sells tamales walked up, and we had gotten tamales from her like a year before, and they were amazing. And as soon as we saw her with the tamales, my wife and I looked at each other and we immediately were like, hey, miss. And we like called her up. We said no to literally 100 people. We were frustrated. We were not really like wanting to pay attention to anyone else. But the moment we saw her, we like raised our hand immediately, right? Because again, we saw the value right away. And that's how it works when your message is clear, when the value is clear. People will raise their hand right away because it's the thing that they want. It's the right offer for them. And so, just finally, just some common blind spots that I've already kind of addressed a little bit. Just because it's clear to you does not mean that it's clear to the audience. Okay. There's the helper trap. You over explain, you over give, you under lead. Make sure that you're leading in your content. If you want examples, you can look at my content. I'm very opinionated. Like I'm very like straightforward. I don't hold back. At the same time, I'm still very loving, right? And I still want the best for people. But I have told myself I'm not gonna hide or shy away from my actual thoughts and beliefs just because I'm scared of people. I'm gonna speak authentically, and the right people will see that and find it as valuable, and they do. Okay. The identity gap, your messaging still reflects who you were or who you are and not who you're becoming. When you speak from the current identity where you currently are, you're limiting yourself. Think about the future version of yourself, what they would do, what they would say, what they would think, and approach your content with that. The Fermentus signal, you have different platform, different note or tones, different offers, different audiences. There's some people here who have 1,000 offers. There are some people here who talk or try to post on 1,000 different platforms. What I noticed, I need to commit to one. So I would post on TikTok consistently. I posted on Instagram and then Facebook. I cut out Instagram, I cut out TikTok, and I said, I'm going to become the best at Facebook. I did that, got really good. Now that I'm good at Facebook, now I can start to maybe focus on something else, but get really good at one platform only because they all require something different from you. And then become a master at that one platform, amplify your signal on one platform. Then once you do that, then you can start to hit the other ones. And then the validation loop, a like, a comment means nothing, honestly. What actually means something is, are you actually having conversations about your offer? And are people actually interested in that? That's all that really matters. Not a like, not a comment, not even a share. They are good things, especially for Facebook monetization. You get paid for that stuff. But if you want high ticket clients, they need to, again, be so compelled and moved by your message that they actually want to, have a conversation about it and raise their hand. And so, what to do immediately? If you want to know the difference between content that sounds good and content that moves people, is you're meeting them where they are and instilling belief in their ability to complete their journey you've painted in their minds with you as their guide. So I'm going to copy this sentence and I'm going to post it in the chat. Take a screenshot of this because there are so many different components of this one sentence here. And I want you to use it almost as like a checklist. You meet them where they are. You instill belief in their ability to complete the journey that you painted, which means you have to paint the journey in their mind with you as their guide, which means you have to be established as their guide. Okay. And I want you to literally use this as a checklist. Is your content actually doing this? I'm sorry, I'm just reading all the tamale comments. You made me check what tamales is. Saw and now I also want it. I did. Dude, they're amazing. So this is how good they are. We bought 14 of them. It was a pack of 7. And it was like immediate. Like we didn't even think about it. It's like, yeah, get him. Like, let's do it. And then what about focusing on one platform but cross-posting the same content? Yes. Just like Burke said, yes, you focus on one. That is your main focus, is one platform. Because again, like for example, when I just started going on Instagram again, I post one video on Instagram, I'll get like, I just started, right? So I'll get like 400, 500 views. I go on TikTok and it gets like 70 views. So very different algorithms, very different approaches, very different needs from your audience. So you want to become a master at one and get really good at one so that you can, again, send that signal. And then after that, you can start to focus on something else. What I do now actually is whenever I put a reel together, I will cross post it on Instagram and TikTok. So I get all 3. And then just kind of just get that signal out there, even though I know that my main focus is going to be Facebook at the end of the day. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is something that at the end of the day just needs to be installed. We can talk about messaging all we want, but it's something that needs to be intentionally installed and put together, especially in a business, because like I said, it is threaded in everything that you do. So we can open it up for some Q&A now, Burke. I know, Lenka, you had a question about my offers. I can talk about that after some Q&A, if you guys are interested in that. But for now, I think we can do some Q&A.
If you're ready with like what you presented, Brandon, for the messaging masterclass, or if you want to share something else, let's do it. Because some people I know they might have to run after the
Okay.
hour. So
Okay.
just cover what you have, and then for whoever
Okay.
have any question, they can either ask them here or in the community section.
Okay. Sounds good. So then let me open my little doc here. So, my major program, this is the one that I focus on the most. This is my message to clients accelerator. It's 5 steps, and pay attention also to how clear and simple it is, because this is also how it needs to be for when you talk to your clients. So, in the very first step, we get crystal clear on your unique value, who that value is for, and then the message that you're meant to give. I believe that everyone has a unique message, unique value, and it's meant for one person. And we make sure that that clear will serve as a foundation of everything that you do. So clear message becomes a foundation. Then you have your second step, which is after you discover this one magnetic message that is the foundation of everything, we start to own your value. So you define who you are in the market and why you're the one to follow. So how do you actually establish yourself as the guide that your clients need and want? In the third step, we develop client trigger content, which I love this part so much. I'm a writer, so I love writing. We turn your clear message into the type of content that gets people to say, wait, you're in my head. Like, how did you know that this is exactly what I'm experiencing? So that your audience is actually connecting with you in your message. In step 4, we cover clear step offers so we can speak with clarity, because you know exactly what you're selling. You'll clarify and align your offer so that your messaging naturally drives desire and demand. I don't believe in icky or pushy sales here. I actually believe in naturally guiding people to where they want to go next. So I never convince anyone. Like Burke said at the beginning, it's not about convincing or forcing. It just happens naturally because that's what they want. And then step 5, we turned that message into a system that scales your visibility, authority, and identity so that you can actually bring in those people consistently. So that's my message to Clients Accelerator program. Are there any questions about this so far?
Could you post that? Can we get a copy of that to look at that?
Yeah, we can.
There will
So
be
what
also
I'll do.
recording, John. Sorry for
Yeah.
interrupting you,
Recording.
Brendan. So you
Yeah,
can
yeah, no.
watch everything that we discussed. Every visual are here. If Brendan is okay, I can just also add the documents to the recording. So
Mhm,
whoever wants, they can just go on their own with the documents.
mhm. Yeah, and I can actually post. I can post a link here. So let me post a link in the chat.
Yep.
If you are interested in any of this and you have any questions, I'll post my link so you can book a call with me, and then we can talk, and I can talk about how we can implement this in your specific business. Let me just get this link for you.
Yeah. I hope this was actually very, very helpful for all of you who attended, but I'm pretty sure it was, because what Brendan said was fire, and I think we can all agree with this, the value and everything. So I hope that this will also be something that we will also implement. We won't be here just for the sake of having our beautiful faces, but we also want to implement, put this in action. So that's why, this will be added in the community as well. So someone who wants to rewatch this, they can go. Someone who wants basically to get feedback on their messaging, on everything, feel free to share everything in like the school community. Ask me or Bradley anything related to this. But again, I can even can't express the gratitude I have for Braden with the value he shared on building and creating this strong message. Because when we nail down the message, as I shared at the very beginning, then everything else becomes easier. Client acquisition becomes way more easier when we have the foundation set up. And I also want to appreciate all of you for attending. As I told you, if someone came up here for the Q&A call from the Sales Fast Track community, just feel free to ask the questions either privately or in the community section of the program, so I can record need in-depth answer to just give you clarity on your question. Because today's session was simply to help you solve one specific problem, which is, the messaging one. And again, I hope that all of you are going to implement